Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So I'm going to be teaching you how to create a Google Doc. I want to make a prelude to this that the only time we're actually going to be using Google Docs to quote-unquote turn in items is just for two different types of rough drafts. That's going to be the rough draft of your narrative and the rough draft of your research paper. And the reason for that is I find this works really well for peer reviews, and a lot of people already have Google Docs. It's just something that I feel has worked really well over time. So we're just going to continue doing that for this semester. So again, when I say turn in, that just means that your assignment will be turned into the folder, and I'll consider it done. For this particular how-to, you're going to find it under Pages. So say you can't remember where it is. If you click under Pages, you're going to see, and I'm actually going to show you, I haven't finished all these yet, as you can tell, a different list on how to create a Google Doc, where's a source summary. We're going to have different things like MLA, options. So anyway, these are going to be where you can find this information. So you found it, obviously, you were here, so that's a good start.
So that's my personal suggestion.
So I try and give you as many good written assignment directions here, but I feel like walking you through and talking you through will probably be a little easier too. So in starting, right here it says go to this link. This particular link is just for an example right now. Your assignment might actually look very similar. This might actually look just like your class.
Now that's important.
So if it looks a little different, don't panic. But pretty much everything else is going to look almost exactly the same. When you first get here, if for some reason you do happen to have a Google account and you're not logged in, you're going to look like this. Say you don't have a Google account, it's still going to look like this, and that's okay. So the first part you'll see up in the corner, it'll say drive with a little triangle, and then the words maybe like a narrative rough draft, or the research paper rough draft. That's where you're going to be creating your document. So when you come here and all you see, sometimes you might actually see a list in this area of last names, like I see it written with the other people's assignments, and that's okay. Or you might see nothing. It kind of depends on if you were the first one to put in something for this folder. So you're going to see there's not much going on right now, but you might notice how it keeps saying sign in. That means you're not signed in. So what I'm going to need you to do is sign in. If for some reason you already have a Google account and you've logged into your Google Drive multiple times, you might see up in the top your name, your email, and that you're signed out, and you could very quickly and easily sign in. If you don't see your name in here, but you do have a Google account, you can say underneath where it says use another account. If you don't have a Google account, you can actually click that again, the line I just hit, and create an account. So if you do not have a Google account, I'm going to show you that real quick, just so you can visualize it again. So if you don't have a Google account, again, you can sign in.
When you have a whole book, you want to narrow it down to certain chapters and stuff. So some of this the books might not be the best option. Try articles,
so if you don't have a Google account, just use another account.
Let's try those first.
So we're going to assume that I don't have a Google account, or that my name doesn't pop up there. But there might be if I wanted, I could see how my name underneath pops up automatically. It says that this computer's recognized me. I do have an account, and I can click on it. Obviously, if you forgot your email, if you had a Google account, you want to use it again, you can just walk through all those steps. Otherwise, if you do not have a Google account, don't panic. It's just as easy as having a Google account. You just create one. Super easy. For this, you're going to say for myself. When you click create an account, it's going to say for myself.
Most researchers nowadays,
and then you can just put in all of your information, a password you want to use, and hit next. Many times what's going to happen is you can use your current Gmail account if you want, if you for some reason remembered you had one, or you can actually use a different email address. It doesn't have to be Gmail, and that's really nice about this. You don't even need to have an account. You can just sign in.
Is a lot.
All right, and so again, just click through down below. You're going to see where it says next. Click on through, and it's just going to guide you really easy. I believe it can send you a text through your phone
homelessness in America,
to validate your account.
Homelessness in California.
Super easy.
For me, really
I would like to just use the
for your
account
particular
that I already
topic, because you even say in your question, how can you alleviate or
and
help
I'm up here,
homelessness
so I'm
in
going to click
Chico?
it.
Chico
And what's nice
in
is
California,
it
so
lets me just clock
that
in.
actually worked out really well for you.
because I'm always clocked in. And
say you wanted to click on that.
I never log out.
Maybe you scroll down. You're like, that's not
Except
quite
for when
what
I
I
have
was
to show
looking
you all how to do
for.
this. So just give me a few minutes.
Social science research and contemporary studies of homelessness. You take a look down and go, 1992. Okay. To be honest with you, 1992 is still really old for psychology research.
All right. So what's really nice about once you hit that click, it doesn't send you anywhere wild and weird. It just brings you right back to that folder. Thank you. Because otherwise it gets really confusing and you have to
my computer's going slow,
click a bunch of places to get somewhere.
To some of these,
you don't have to worry about it with this. It makes it as really easy.
This tells me
now you're going to see that the front of this has changed. Something looks different.
Including the abstract, right?
So the left-hand side, you have a lot of
gives you a rough
options
idea
now.
Of what you are going to be reading.
You're going to see also below the search in the drive, you'll see where all this information
and then figuring out what
for me, there's a lot of.
Will actually give you that information.
I have a lot of folders, so this is what my
help you
will look
understand.
I'm also the creator. Might look a little different for you. You might not have all of this, so just keep that in mind. And then up in the corner, in the right-hand corner, you're going to see your information and a bunch of fun little things.
Alcohol or drug issues.
So we are going to talk about the left-hand side later. So this is where we're going to
you're going to start to see
do a bunch of other stuff. For now, we want to look on the left-hand side, where it says drive with a little triangle, and then below it says new.
So
and then you can ignore the bottom ones
you have now,
because what we're going to do obviously is click the new, the plus new, a really good you're going to see a pull down menu, and the pull down menu is going to have a couple options. The only thing I want you to do is create a Google Doc. Do not create a folder.
So I say, heck yeah, this is great.
Don't really upload anything. I just want to keep it super simple. So we're just going to do a Google Doc.
The whole thing, or do you
say
just
you're more comfortable working on Word or another program somewhere else. That's okay. You can actually copy and paste it into the Google Doc.
Let's hold on to this,
but let's not upload or anything like that. It gets way too complicated, and then it looks like a mess, and it makes it really complicated sometimes for other students. So
right next to the actual paper itself,
go to Google Docs only,
where this paper came from, which is
click
the
on that
review of sociology.
And it's going to give you a window that's going to pop up. It says create in a shared folder. Yes.
Sociology. Notice how it's in italicized, right?
And share.
That's because it's the name of the journal. Okay. It's who is giving us this information.
You now are the beginning
article title itself
of creating a Google Doc.
This would be in quotes.
Up in the corner. So now you see this blank slate,
which is really cool. That if you look, this actually gives you
awesome and
all
super
of the
easy,
information
that's what we're used to.
You'll notice
see
it
up
gives
in
you
the
a
left-hand corner
where
it says untitled document. Keep in mind you might have to wait just a minute for your document to load and
if you look on here, say you get a
together
PDF and you're like,
before you do this because it gets weird when you go
on
to
the PDFs will tell you too.
So
here
it
tells
in
you
the right-hand corner where it says untitled document, I want you to click it. And when you click it, it's going to highlight the word untitled document.
Journal right there in italicized.
Super easy.
What do you know?
Once you do that, I want you to make sure that you put in a very specific way in which I want you to label your papers, and this is how it's going to be throughout the semester. It is always your last name, all right, an underscore, that's shift dash.
Anyway,
hit the shift button and the dash number, and that's considered an underscore.
Also, if
then
you
I want
right
your
over
first
here,
initial,
and
then another shift dash, which is an underscore. So last name underscore, first initial underscore, and then this particular paper is going to be
in fact, if you copied and pasted it, which I've had
the
students
narrative
do, I will murder
rough
you.
draft.
That is not what I want. This is not
perfect.
What I
done.
Want.
Don't hit enter. Don't do anything. Just take your mouse and then click it on the.
The reason why I don't want to give you this hint is I don't want you to assume
document
that it's okay to do this on
and then
all
it'll save
things.
For you. What is absolutely beautiful about Google Docs is it gives you all the information of where it was saved and all that information. So it's really cool. Say you wrote something like...
What we are working with is MLA, the very, very top one. And before you copy and pasted it,
you wrote a whole bunch of stuff, and then you deleted it, and then you're like, shoot, what was that thing that I wrote that I really liked, but I deleted it? You don't have to worry, because if you go back to where you last edited your work, it's going to give you your old documents. It's going to show you the history. Oh, isn't that so cool? So it shows you the current version, and it shows you some of the original versions.
Number.
What's nice about this is it actually consistently saves your document. So I have an old version of like a like a calendar I was trying to do, and I was deleting a bunch of stuff.
So that is one thing that you might have noticed that on my
I can't remember what those things were, and I really need them. So I went back
like, or the ISSN
it was months ago.
I still need a link,
and it even gave me a little arrow pointing down right here next to the date on the right-hand side, where I clicked it, and it showed me every single edit. It was fantastic. I was able to go through and click on it. So when I click on whatever it is, that version that I want, it's going to show me what my edits were. So it'll be highlighted green to show you that it has been most recently edited by that.
If it were older, so all you have to do is you can just copy, highlight, copy,
to do it.
Right? You're like, oh, shoot, I copied it. Now what do I do? What I normally suggest when you have information for something that you want to do, start a Google
Human
Doc.
names for animals.
Okay, so it just so happens that
so here it shows you it's saved to the drive,
and you're working on your
edited
paper
seconds
right now.
ago. I'm going to wait a minute just to show you.
Okay, so say you're working on your own source.
So usually within the time, since I've been doing this within the minute, it's not going to show you the edits. But if you wait a couple of minutes, it'll actually pop up, and then this would have it would show you the changes.
Summary.
Anyway, the reason why I show you this, and I walk through this very detailed, is so that you really understand Google Docs, so that you feel comfortable using it. And so, say again, there was a part that you were writing in your narrative that you really liked, and for some reason you deleted it, but you couldn't remember what you wrote. You can go back to the last edits that you did and retrieve it. So what I've done before is when I went back to my edits,
you actually do a turn in
see that little arrow? When I click on that,
Canvas. So you can use this.
See how it shows me
this source summary
one last edit on the 13th showed at 11:13 a.m. It shows me my first one
say that at some
versus
point
my most
you're really
recent,
not sure about a source and you just want me to double check something.
Edit.
I can easily access
it. This is why I love
because
Google
you're
Docs.
Label
it really keeps track
with your last name and an underscore and all that.
It really keeps track of the things that you do. This could be maybe good, maybe bad. It depends on your outlook on
C is copy, control.
For me, I do appreciate it as a writer. So anyway. So this is what we're looking at here. Say you want to go back and all you want to do is just remember this thing.
Okay,
you can
so
copy
here we go.
it.
We have this link. We have all this information.
Once you highlight it, if you Control C
and it's really
on
easy to get back to
mouse,
because you can just copy and paste
you can
the link
actually
and
go
it'll get
back
you
to it and
but maybe you need more. Maybe
copy and paste
you
whatever you want.
The actual
Control V.
What do you call it? PDF itself, which I highly suggest.
Sets it
download
down. Unfortunately, when you do that,
if
it
you
keeps the color green.
PDF,
if it was a recent edit on your thing,
you do not have all 32
highlight
pages,
and then change
don't
the text
use
color
the source.
to black.
Make sure you have all of the information you need.
These are shortcuts.
Because
if I'm
otherwise,
going too fast, I apologize. That's why it's being recorded.
Like if I go back and see what I did, abstract with nothing else based on
all
the
right.
link
So this shows you my most recent.
That means you didn't have it either. So you were just going off the abstract.
Look at all these little
don't
tiny
do that
edits that it does.
Make sure you have a whole complete information. In fact, it'll give you a link or at least a button like up here where it says download PDF.
So if for some reason you don't want to do the copy and paste, you could just hit restore this version and it's going to go all the way back to this particular version.
They give you all the information.
I personally don't like doing that because it worries me that I'm going to delete something else.
Homelessness.
So I usually just do a copy and paste.
The source where it came
but you do what you want. You can fart around with it and figure out what works best for you.
Annual sociology is the name of the
anyway.
See,
when it comes to the rough draft narrative,
so this is a source.
I'll talk to you
here,
a little bit about how I want it written. When it comes
this is
to
author, we have
not
two
just
of
the rough
them.
draft, sorry.
So
the rough drafts on any of these, they can be a little bit
and all that good stuff. So anyway, you have all this already.
They aren't going to look
when you cite your
perfect,
source,
but they're definitely going to have a substantial amount of information, so that when your peers come through and
so when you download, you can actually download on
they go
your
through
computer
to
if you like.
Peer review. I'll talk about that in a second. They're going to have a lot of work
summary one folder. You
to
can,
work
but
with. Anyway, so long story short, that is how you create
or something that you're working with, and that's okay. Again, this is going to be your workspace. This is not something I go into unless
you can also go up here and rename it if you wanted. Say you're like, oh shoot, I forgot the underscores. I mean, obviously you can still edit.
So this is how you get your information.
But I am very particular about naming it. The reason for that is understanding that when someone gives you directions,
what's really
you
nice
want to
is
follow through with those exact directions. This applies to all things, whether you're trying to set up a computer, or whether, well, super easy to do do that now. Whether you are following instructions for your job. So the reason why I give you these very specific things is for a very specific reason. It also, for me, helps me when I'm going through and grading. So I do need you to follow the ways in which we do this in class.
That way it's really easy.
Some of your other teachers might be a little bit different on how they do it.
For this, again, the social sciences, it was in 1992
your
is
last
when this
name
was
underscore
published.
first name underscore
I think
the name of the
I don't know. I don't know if you could use it. You might be able to. I would take a look at it and see.
As you move forward, you're going to see not just the narrative draft, the research.
And say what we ended up
it's the research rough draft. It's going to be labeled the same, except
you can do the research however you want.
Just you're going to see as we scroll down here. These are how I would like you to name all of the documents.
Please do not.
I just showed you how we did the rough draft. We're going to have the narrative, the source summary 1, 2, research rough draft, and the research paper. And there's a reason why I do this. When it comes to source summaries especially, I need to know whether it's the first one or the second one. A lot of times I will tell when I'm reading the paper, but when I see it, if I don't see that it's changed on here, my assumption is that it's still the first one, and you won't get credit for it. And I won't grade it. I don't have time to go through and be like,
anyway, so you can save a stable link and copy and paste it into Word or Google Doc.
Very important that you double check every time you go to turn in an assignment.
But one thing that I would highly suggest,
same thing happens with research paper or the rough draft. I have a lot of students who do this all the time. They leave this rough draft on there. My assumption is you never changed your rough draft. You didn't do any edits on it at all. In fact, you didn't even edit the title of it. And because of that, to me, it tells me you actually did not do substantial edits on your paper. And for me, that kind of wastes my time. So it's very important that you show me that you know that this is a new piece of, this is a new document, this is a new thing.
With the quote, make sure you put
and you can always redo, say the rough draft. Say this ends up being your after your rough draft and you get all your peer reviews and you're still using the Google Doc. You can absolutely use this Google Doc to make it your final, but you want to make sure that you label it correctly when you go to turn it in for the final assignment. Okay, so just again, please make sure that you're paying
This is just me giving you an example. Please make sure
busy and crazy. We all have a lot of things to do.
So if I go to that page number and I check
but these little things do matter in the end.
And also, please make sure.
All right. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Hopefully you've been watching all of my videos as I go through.
Don't forget what you can also do.
These don't seem so far out for you. You've been understanding what our narrative is. You'll know more about source summaries if we haven't already gotten to that yet, which I don't think we have. So anyway, please email me. You know my email. You can go through in your Canvas to the inbox. Click on that.
Just make sure that when you do a hanging indentation, it does not affect the rest of your paper.
Thank you very much.
So anyway, that's just if you're going to use it. If not, you'll just have to delete it and refix your formatting. So anyway, don't forget at the very end of your sources, always, always, always put a period. Okay. So this is just kind of a really good way of researching. It does take time and practice, and it does take work. Research isn't like, I'm just going to use this. It's not like when you Google search something like, what time is it in Africa right now? And then it pops right up. It's not going to be that simple. The idea behind your research is to really dig deep into things that I couldn't easily Google. That's why this is such a research topic is so important. That's why I don't say, if your question was, how big does a baleen whale get? I'm like, dude, I could Google that. And I don't want a topic that you can just Google an answer to. I want something that you're going to have to research and really find the answers, because in the end, you don't know what you might end up doing, which could be, say your topic is, finding homelessness solutions in Chico. You might create a program that ends up saving lives. Like, that's the point of this. It's not just to willy-nilly, I don't know, just research because I have to. This is something that could potentially, even if you don't follow through with it, it's something that maybe later, if you had a friend who was involved in something, you could say, hey, you know what you could do, and send this their way. Like, this is actually very important information. In fact, that's what research is all about, sharing it with your peers, which is why when you're doing these and you have your peers reviewing it, I don't get involved, because I want you to be able to share it with your peers as if they're going to be using this themselves, So anyway, forgive me for clicking around. I forget I'm not in front of everyone. I usually have a video and I'm waving my hands around and you can't see that. So All right. So anyway, don't forget, if you do copy and paste from JSTOR only from JSTOR, where it says citing the source, make sure everything is in the exact order we've worked on. Okay, and don't get into the habit, but I will give you an okay on that, but do not include the access date. I will murder you. I don't want to know that you copied and pasted anything. I want to believe that you went through and did everything by hand. Okay, so anyway, so let's see here. Once you have quite a few sources, continue working on your paper. I'll talk a little bit about outlines for you, and then we can see if you have any questions on that as well. So anyway, again, please, you know the rules. Only email me when you cannot find it within all of the links in all of the videos. Please watch them all the way through. I know I babble. Get over it. It's what I do as a teacher. Okay? All right. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'm very excited to see what y'all come up with.